Hello and welcome to the Rojan Kimcast. Thank you for tuning in this Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. It's Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. You're listening to the Rojan Kimcast. Thank you for listening to the Rojan Kimcast. Thank you for tuning in. What a day! What a day! Um, it was Earth Day, 420. There was an earthquake. It is Earth Day. It was 420. It's 422. Sorry. I'm sorry if I'm confusing anybody. Okay, let me start over. Hello, and welcome to the Rojan Kimcast. It's well, you know, it's April 22nd. Got it. Okay, it's April 22nd, Wednesday. Still in lockdown, quarantine time. We're still here. Still divided as a country. Are we? I don't know. Are we? I don't know. I'm divided with myself, so I guess it's hard to. I can see that the country's divided in that case. You know what I mean? Like it's the country. If the country is a reflection of me, then yes, it is truly divided. Just like the Korean and American side, right? The gay and the straight side, and the trans and cis side. All those sides, yin and yang, fighting, working, swirling together. We're all, everything is us. We are everything, right? Isn't that the whole thing? Like, we're all made of star stuff, right? We're all made of star stuff, guys. But then again, if you think about it, so is Hitler, right? Yeah, so I don't know what any of this means. Okay, here's what I do know. I do know that in any crisis for a country, the way out of it is probably unity, right? I think that's just seems like one of those weird givens. It's a given. Is that a given? Is that too much? Is that? Do you think that that's like maybe that's like just some countries, but not America because we're so awesome. Because there used to be a saying called "You can't have guns and butter." I had a little phrase: "You can't have guns and butter." Just means that it's expensive to have a war and a thriving economy at the same time. However, the United States said, "Hold on, hold my beer." Right? Basically, it was just like, "Oh yeah, watch this." And for the past 40 some odd years, since we went off the gold standard, since Vietnam, really since the 50s, since the Korean War, with the military-industrial complex, which proved to be too expensive 20 years later, so that they said, you know what, let's just start making money instead of hooking it up to something like gold. And then, yeah, it's been another. We were able to do that for another, what, 45 years? 45 years. We're here now. Some people have been saying that the system is going to collapse. Some people have been saying there's a bubble. Big old bubble out there. That's what's going on, and it's like, and other people are like, no, everything is fine. It's just the pandemic, bro. The pandemic is the reason why everything is collapsing. And other people are like, no, 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 the whole thing was set to collapse anyways because that's what the 2008 financial collapse was. And, we just we didn't really fix stuff. And other people are like, yeah, we did. So who knows? I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know. All I do know is that unity seems to me a common thing across many situations, many countries, of just the strategy that's necessary to get through something. You know what I mean? I think it's hard pressed for a group of people to get through some kind of like crisis without having to work together. Doesn't that just seem? It just seems retarded that I'm actually saying it. It just seems like that I have to actually spell this out. Be like, you see, to overcome an obstacle, sometimes you have to work. It's like a goddamn. It's like some kind of fucking story where I'm just like, I don't know. It's like you pit two teams against each other, and then there's like you have to go up and ring a bell or get a golden axe or some shit, but the other side has a ladder, and then both teams realize they have to work together to get the axe up the bell or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm mixing metaphors or examples. All I'm talking about is like, it's just those cliche stories where, a wise man pits two young kids against each other, and then the whole object of the thing is that they have to work together. It's a common like storyline for cartoons. It's a common thing for kids to learn, at least from cartoons, but not in real life. That we should put our differences aside, work together to face the bigger threat or whatever it is. Threats are usually the most, I don't know, like it's just like the most obvious thing. I feel like anything that's threatening you, like shouldn't we? Anyway, so maybe in that way, the conspiracy people have a point. Maybe it's not that big of a threat. I don't know. Maybe that's what I don't know. Here's what I know: you can't have guns and butter, and you can't get through things without unity. But you know what? It seems like the good old USA has said, you know what? We're gonna have guns, butter, and tribalism. Boom. Guns, butter, politics. We don't give a fuck. Guns, butter, politics. We don't care. We don't care. We're better than Rome. We're better than every empire ever. We're going to bring Afghanistan to its knees. No one's ever done it. Since the time of Alexander, right? We're going to fucking do it. USA. USA. Right? Are we? I don't know. Do we do it? We're going to fucking run our money off no gold. Just print it. Every other empire has collapsed from doing that. Not us. We're going to fucking do it. Every empire has collapsed because they try to have guns and butter. We're going to have guns and butter. And a pandemic. And we're going to be all fucking political in between. We're going to have Democrats, Republicans, pandemic, guns, butter. Meanwhile, Democrats and Republicans are all for guns, just war and arms dealing and all of that. They're both sides. There's the binary that that I've been railing about. They just fucking all right. You guys don't. You guys know all about that. I just feel like we're coming to a point where we may not have a choice. Like where we have to unify or die, and not necessarily because of the pandemic. Because I think the data is still coming in. It's clearly not fucking Captain Trips from The Stand. It's just wiping people out. You know what I mean? It's clearly not the plague, the Black Plague, that just wiped out like a third of humanity or something. Like the numbers were huge. Like it's not like that. So good, thankfully, great. It's clearly affecting older people with pre-existing conditions. It's not affecting kids. It's not so. Those things make the virus not as dangerous as another virus might, right? You can imagine a more dangerous virus, but this isn't it. However, we just don't know. We don't know because we're not doing the testing. I mean, there are studies coming out showing that when you do antibody tests, it's possible that people may have had it for a while. Something like 50 times the amount of cases, remember? So we just don't know. So the thing is, what we soon have to start thinking about is what about the effects of what we've been doing for the past 2 months? What about the effects of that? What about the effects of the 1 in 5 restaurants being gone? What about the effects, no businesses being able to pay the workers, people being out of work, no healthcare being assigned to work? All this stuff. You know what I'm talking about. I'm saying push might come to shove, and the time for all this squabbling might be over. Or will it? I don't know. Will they just fucking unleash the floodgates of cash onto us too? Maybe they'll be like, this will fucking calm the peasants down. Or will they just fly away on their spaceships while we burn the whole thing down? Who knows, guys? Who knows? And that's what we're in for. We are in the front seats. We're in the front seat to either one of the best shows in the world or the worst shows, depending on your perspective, or a boring show. That's the other thing. It could be completely boring. We could have done enough to keep this going for another 100 years, right? And then the spectacular collapse would be one for the ages, but most of us won't be around to see it. That's possible too. I don't know. But what I do know is does seem to be an unprecedented time, right? The oil thing, the fucking all this going on. It's unprecedented also because, despite the fact that there's no unity in our country, there is unity in the streets of LA. In my neighborhood, in fact, and I just want to talk about how 8 p.m. every day, every night at 8 p.m., the entire neighborhood claps, hoots, hollers, goes into a rounding display of applause. A lot of hooting, hollering, woo, yay! And then people start screaming, thank you, because they're applauding the essential workers. Now you're probably going, come on, well, that's nice. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? I mean, come on, the essential workers are essential. They're out there. They're doing the deliveries. They're delivering our food. They're in the drugstores. They're doing the things. They're serving us. And we're grateful. So thank you. And clappity clap, clap, clap. You know, I gotta say, I think clapping is just not helpful. Just like for stand up comedy, you know, clapping is not helpful. You know what I mean? It doesn't help the essential workers. How does that help them? I mean, them being paid more would be great. Tipping them a lot more would be great. Anything else, really, besides, I mean, I guess the recognition. Thank you, thank you. And the one thing about LA is that it is the kind of town where attention, um, how to put it, approval. You know, I mean, you know what I'm saying. I'm fucking trying to be a comic. Fucking, you know, just the fucking attention-seeking behavior, approval from the others, whatever. That's just like a form of currency. I'm living in a neighborhood filled with screenwriters and actors. I'm sure of it. And they think that if they were playing the role or writing the role of a delivery person, they would love to hear the applause, or at least they would love the applause for the screenplay they are writing about the heroic Amazon delivery guy. They would love to hear the thunderous applause, yeah, hoots and hollers, the adoration of just the idolization, like you're a genius and so great, and they think that that is amazing. Mostly because a lot of them are pretty well off, like, you know, they're okay comfortably. They're not that hungry, so they can think about, like, you know, it'd be really great is applause. That's something I've never had. Meanwhile, the Amazon delivery driver is like, hey, I might not have a place to live in a couple weeks if I don't make X amount of money. You know, like it's a very different equation. You know, and they're kind of meaning. You know, there's I'm. This is a weird neighborhood I'm living in. It's these sort of like apartments for not poors, not total poors, but you know, you're middle. You're fucking. I don't know, heavily debt laden people. I mean, there's this. You know, this one building has 4 units. There's people, the oldest tenant's probably in her 60s or 70s. Yeah, there's young people, I mean, we're not the youngest ones here. We're like middle aged. You got people with kids, and it's not big. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a range of like what would have been middle class one day, but all of us are dead. And, we don't actually, if we were middle class, we wouldn't be living in 1 bedroom apartments. You're like paying a premium for, the central location next to the Grove. That wouldn't be something that's happening. But anyways, interspersed in this neighborhood are really nice homes, $1 million homes probably. It's really weird. It's LA. It's this hodgepodge of, I'm sure some of these workers are probably living right next door to some of the places they deliver to. You know what I mean? Like that. It's just it's hodgepodge, and I don't know. I just feel like the scale, the clapping, really with the clapping, like that's really that important. It also just kind of underlies the psychology of the people doing it, and Brochin, you're so negative. You're such a hater. You're such a hater and you're so negative, and this is why I didn't do well as an actor. You know what I mean? This is why I didn't do well in improv. UCB, RIP, by the way, UCB New York, has announced that it shut its door. Took about, oh God, I went through 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3, so 1,200. Back then, UCB classes were 300 a pop. Now they're like 5. Jesus Christ, yeah, 5. Somebody told me. I took improv 101 to 104 and fucking, and you know what? It was great. Was it worth 1,200? Nah. But I met Zach Woods, who's on Avenue 5 now, and I hope he's actually on the real Avenue 5 in space and not on this planet. Zach Woods, yeah. He was my improv 101 and 201 teacher. So that was cool. That's fine. But was it worth $600? Was it worth the 1,200? I don't know. But and then the improv, it's a good skill. It was a good skill, but I just didn't like the community, quote unquote. And then there's the whole rape stuff going on. And the thing, it's gone. UCB New York, soon UCB LA will be gone. they will all be gone. You know, they're all going to be gone. That's the whole thing. Comedy clubs are going to be gone. Besides the big old, you know, Levity Lives, whoever are the corporations. It's just all across the board. Say goodbye to mom and pop. That's the crazy thing about this virus is it kills mom and pops literally and figuratively, guys. Huh? Literally and figuratively, because you know, figuratively, because like mom and pop stores and. Okay, all right, let's move on. Let's move on to. All right, Figs. I have my ad read. Final ad read. I'm gonna do it. Okay, I'm doing the ad read. All right. This episode of the Rojan Kimcast is brought to you by Figs. Figs is a premium brand of scrubs that healthcare workers can buy online for quality scrubs. What does this say? I can't read this gibberish. It just says Figs add gibberish Chinese. That's it. That's all it says. Okay, I don't know what this means. Figs is made by. I'm just gonna have to wing it. Okay, Figs Scrubs is made for the healthcare worker on the go who, because of a lack of budget and really any concern for their well-being, has to now buy their own personal protective equipment and scrubs like from Figs. On one hand, I can't fault Figs because Figs is just taking advantage of an opportunity, just like any free market business would take care of an opportunity. It's just there was a market there, and the market said, "Hey, the equipment they're giving us in the hospitals is shit, and we need better stuff. So we're gonna actually pay with our own money to get some of that equipment." And scrubs being one of those things that I consider equipment. Wouldn't scrubs be considered equipment? Well, Figs thinks so, and Figs thinks that instead of dealing with the Chinese-made cheap equipment that is a part of just-in-time inventory, you should buy your own inventory of Fig scrubs. Figs asks, Figs is a product that asks the very question, if you think healthcare workers are heroes, why have they been shafted in pay and personal protective equipment for the past 20 years? Why is there no inventory for any of the things they need in preparation of something like a global pandemic that we're in the middle in, or even just your plain old seasonal flu, you know, any kind of infectious disease or any sort of healthcare operations? Why would you do that to them if they are truly the heroes that that you say they are? Instead of clapping for nurses and doctors, instead of protesting them with your stupid Republican ideas of medicine, instead of thinking you're actually doing something by Instagramming yourself, taking pizza to a bunch of nurses, why not ask, why does Figs even have to exist? Why does a company decide that there is a market for people who need to buy scrubs? In fact, a better question is, how is there a market for this? In fact, there is. In fact, Figs is only acting in a rational manner, as any American business would, in sensing a need and providing a service. In that way, Figs can't be faulted for their business model. But who can be faulted, perhaps, is all of us. All of us, the whole country. That's the only way we can take any account for all of this that's going on, is to socialize the blame. We're all at fault, guys. We're all. Hold on, I'm getting a call. Hello? Ooh. Okay. Well, I lost the Figs account, guys. I don't have the Figs account anymore. That was my my only lifeline in this pandemic to a source of income from this podcast, and I've squandered it by pointing out that Figs is a fantastic company that is just taking advantage of an opportunity during a crisis, just like the Chinese would. The Chinese that they're competing against, because Figs is made in the USA. 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 USA stands for you shooting again? Alright, USA. USA figures. You know what? We can be Bloods and Crips and fucking have guns and butter. We have guns and butter and Bloods and Crips. We don't care. Guns and butter and Bloods and Crips. Maybe that should be the name of this podcast, and then I'll be targeted by the Bloods and Crips or the U.S. government. Wouldn't that be grand? I have enemies at the federal and local level and then I just gotta find a state, sort of a state entity. Maybe I'll go after those backcountry hunters and anglers. They're kind of federal, but they have a state chapter. They're just so. How about I go after the Los Angeles Mycology Society? I'm coming after you, Ichiko, or whatever, whatever your name is, lady. You know, I gotta. I'm also thinking of like I gotta come up with some better guests. I mean, not better. Sorry, I don't mean like the guests that I had have been all shitty. You know, they're comic fans and it's good times and all that. But I mean, it's a crazy, weird time, and I have a lot of weird interests. So maybe I just start finding weirdos that want to talk to another weirdo, you know, and they'll get nothing out of it because I can't pay them, and I don't know if I'll actually have the listenership. So the only thing that the only people that gain from something like that is you, the listener. You, I mean, and me too, from whatever the conversation and stuff. But you, the listener, gets to gain from my the ramblings of a madman and the endeavors to connect to other mad women and men. I didn't want to be, you know, didn't want to be like, you know, too gendered there. I wanted to be okay, great. All right, well, I think I just wanted to I'm rounding the bend here, guys. I'm coming round the mountain, and when I come, I'll be riding 6 white horses, guys. So, listen, comedy's over, man. Stand-up's over. Just get used to this. I'm basically I've definitely lost listeners. I got cocky, and I said I had 14, and now I'm down, I think, to 9, and the numbers don't matter anymore. The numbers, you know what I mean? The numbers mean nothing. Numbers are just, you know, we made those up. You know what I mean? I mean, they give us some sense of reality, like Pythagoras was all about, you know. But on the other hand, we base too much reality on them, and then we get blindsided by the curves. You know, the curves in between the integers. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. All right, guys. So the comedy bubble, you know, the comedy's over. It's over. I mean, that's not over as an entity. The comedy will exist. People will want to laugh, and people will be funny. Funny things. I mean, definitely in a time of mass death or mass starvation, whichever we're headed for. Comedy's been there for us. Been there for us ever since the age-old times of farting around the campfire, you know what I mean? Or fucking accidentally hitting yourself with a rock or something. People laughing, it's so hilarious, and then you're like, you know what? This is I get some cred with this. So yeah, you know, you start doing some more things that make people laugh, and you figure out there's shit that makes people laugh, and you're really good at it. And then next thing you know, maybe you don't have to hunt so much, and then ladies want to fuck you, you know? Maybe you know, you can see how that happened. Sure. I'm just talking about the comedy bubble in the sense of economically, because I've been reading the Wall Street Journal, guys, and it told me. No, I'm just kidding. Would it be great if that's actually an article in the journal about comedy club? The open mic bubble has been slotted mics. Should they be hedged against? All right. What do I mean by this? Okay, I think I talked about this before. My neighborhood. Going back to my neighborhood. Ooh, full circle. You see this? All right, fine. Maybe the 1200 improv class helped me do things like this. You know, bring it back full circle like a herald. All right. So, anyways, my neighborhood lived right off of Melrose Ave. I lived between Melrose and Beverly. Melrose Ave is a hip place, or was before it got decimated by this pandemic or the closure. It's not really the pandemic. On Melrose Avenue, there was one open mic establishment based on the slotted model popularized in LA by the Fourth Wall, an establishment called the Fourth Wall. Joe Manente, I don't know, Joe. He had an idea. He had a dream. He's like, why not create an open mic space, slotted, $5, have rules, okay. So 1 turned into 2. You got 2 of these spots. Those two turned into 3 of these spots. 3 turned into 4 at one point, and then he had a cafe, and then he had to kind of retract a little bit. One of those cafes ended up on Melrose, right next to his competitor, Rachel Cuthbert, who decided, hey, I'm going to take the Joe's model and just do it here, over here where he's not, I'll do it here. Created Bert's Back Room. Bert's Back Room became a hit. Woo! On Melrose, that was like 2 blocks away. I started going, a lot of, I did not agree with, let's just say, the political leanings of the hosts that were sort of like that oozed into the other comics there. I didn't like the I don't know. There's just a vibe. Yeah, and the constant boomeranging. It's like everything was about the boomerang on the stories, and then it was like everybody. That's just it became about that and not really about comedy. Anyways, so fourth wall then opens next door, literally next door, like a block away. Another mic next to Bert's back room. Boom, almost like a fucking competitive dick move. Rah, flexing some muscle, like figure. Okay, then another one popped up. Another mic. Boom. What was it called? The fucking flashback mic. Then the comedy office. Then the Hollywood comedy. So there's like 3 more fucking mics. This is on top of the fact that there were already mics that weren't following the slotted model on Melrose. Okay, there were more mics, and they were fucking packed all the time, and they were doing well, and I don't know, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I was like, there's no way this is sustainable. There's no way comedy is this. There's no way comedy is this much fun. Okay. As for somebody who's been doing it for 9 years, there's no way that comedy is this fun. These have all got to be like newcomers, people who got the bug, people who fucking fell in love with comedy. Those are the easiest people to exploit. That's why they're bringers. That's why you get these bringers for new comics, because they're like, yeah, my friends come or my family come. Get them. You can get them to bring people and stuff. And then after that period is a ripe period where they're just fat little piggies waiting to be sucked. Sucked dry, because they need to do comedy. Now they have the bug. They need to do comedy. They need to get better, and they need to do reps. And these are all things they know. And then these are all things that older comics know and have from since time immemorial, I'm sure, exploited. Right? That's it's a little parasitic industry over there. Never hurt anybody except for, I guess, the comics that it's drawing from. But whatever. Well, that bubble's gone. I mean, also just the rise in comedy clubs, the Joe Rogan sort of fueled rise in the Comedy Store, and the comedy club attendance was through the roof. People were going to live events. People were just enjoying themselves. The economy was soaring, and now the bubble's gone. The bubble's popped, guys. The bubble has a pop. We lived in a gilded age of infinite mics. We thought it was infinite growth. We just thought it would be mics after mics. We thought we would never be lit. We were comics who thought we would never be lit. We were just going and going and going, and we just didn't have a care in the world, guys. It was such a beautiful time, and I think it's a time we're gonna just talk about. We're gonna talk about, like, people talk about, the fucking glory days of before segregation and stuff, or desegregation. Before before any of that stuff. I'm just saying. I mean, part of me is sad. Part of it, of course, I love stand-up comedy, and I had a great time doing comedy, and I fucking loved my comic friends, and then hanging out with them, and doing Mike's wasn't that great, but some of the people in Mike's are great, and sometimes when the mic is good, it's great, and then shows are great, and all that stuff is great. Stand-up comedy is great. It's great, but it's just, it's going to have a refractory period. It's not really dead. It can't die, but it can go to sleep, it can go into a coma. Or at least the industry as it was is no longer what it was. And I think that, what was happening is like podcasts, internet media, whatever the fuck else is going to come out of the death of the UCB and the death of the comedy club system. There's going to be live comedy of some form. We just don't know what it's going to be, and we don't know in this time, this lockdown time, what larval stages of comedy are out there. I mean, could this be one? I mean, podcasting is a 10-year-old form, but it is relatively new. So who knows? I mean, I feel like that's the one thing I can do, right? So I'm going to keep doing it, and I can't itch that stand-up bug, It's just not going to... It's not going to be it, so I'm just going to have to figure out some other way of probably crack cocaine. I think that's it. I mean, stand-up is like the crack of art. And so maybe I can get sponsored by crack. This episode of the Rojan Kimcast is sponsored by crack. Crack cocaine. When regular cocaine just won't do it for you, especially when trying to smoke it. The problem with regular cocaine is that it is not free-based. in a form that can be regularly combusted or vaporized by mixing cocaine in its powder form with baking soda and boiling it off, evaporating the water, and collecting the quote unquote rocks that form. You can now make you now have free based cocaine that you can vaporize or smoke at your pleasure. Um, I mean, who am I to tell you what to do with your cocaine? You do whatever you want. Do what you want with your cocaine. Don't let me tell you how to cook it with, equal parts baking soda in a Pyrex glass, stirring and not to let it burn. Don't let me tell you to do that and then use a butane torch, and some kind of. You can actually order glass roses. It's called a glass rose on Amazon. And so I'm not telling you to do that and to start inhaling the vapors of the crack cocaine in the glass pipe that you get using the butane torch. I'm not telling you to do that. Don't do it. It's just not. What are you going to do? Become mayor of DC? Huh? What are you going to do? Be a leader? Be a winner? A two-time winner? No, don't do that. You do what you want. The only thing I know about cocaine is you gotta do it all. Okay, that's the only thing I know. All right, I don't know anything about the CIA importing cocaine into the country as payment from the Nicaraguan Contras after sending them weapons from the Iranians that were as part of the hostage release. The hostages when they were taken, the Reagan administration ended up getting some sweet money from these weapons that they sold the Iranians, and then they funneled that money to the Contras in Nicaragua, who in turn gave them cocaine, and then they took the cocaine, brought it in here. That's that movie with the Tom Cruise, Barry Jenkins? Is that his name? Whatever, the pilot guy with the cocaine. Yeah, it's been proven that that's what they did, and that's what crack cocaine was. So don't let me tell you what to do that. Anyways, the Rojan Kimcast was brought to you by crack cocaine and figs. Well, no longer. Well, hopefully out of these two, one of them will stick with me. I'm hoping. I'm hoping for crack. I think it's a better model, honestly. Better business model, sustainable. Balance sheet is off the charts. So I think it's gonna be great. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Why don't you follow me? Why don't you? You probably already do. But you know what you should do? You should grab your wife's phone and go follow me on Twitter and Instagram, right? Grab her phone. I know some of you have wives. I know you know who I'm talking to. I know some of you have wives. Just grab her phone. She's not gonna mind. Whatever. You know her password. Don't act like you don't. Just grab her phone. Just give me a follow. It's no big deal. No big deal. And if she asks you, you can blame me if she asks. Okay, I give you permission to blame. Just say Rojan told me I had to do it, and you tell him. It's probably best not to. You'd probably get in more trouble for that. I'll be honest. It'll make me look stronger. So don't do that. I don't want to come in between. I'm not a homewrecker. I don't want to come in between you and your wife. All right? All you have to do is get her on her phone, and subscribe to the Rojan Kimcast on Spotify and Stitcher and Apple and Google. That's all you have to do. And then, she's not gonna fucking listen to it. She's not even know. She's not gonna know. You won't get any notifications or anything. You won't have any fingerprints. Stop worrying so much. This is all gonna blow over. It'll be great. It's gonna be a V-shaped recovery. V for victory. V for vagina. V is for very good. Very good times I'm having here with you. Am I done? Okay, I am. Thank you so much. And until next time. Okay. Goodbye.